Most people do not fail because they lack talent. They fail because they obey their mood instead of their mission. Listen carefully. Your mood is not your master. Your emotions are not your authority. And your feelings do not get to vote on your future. The moment you decided on your goal, you were clear, you were focused, you were honest with yourself about what needed to be done. But then, comfort arrived, fear whispered, doubt knocked, and suddenly the plan that once felt powerful started to feel heavy. This is where destinies are decided. The world is divided into two kinds of people: those who act according to a plan and those who act according to how they feel. The second group stays busy, emotional, exhausted, and broke. The first group becomes unstoppable. Your mood changes with sleep, weather, opinions, and pressure. Your plan was built with intention, reason, and vision. Why would you let something unstable control something sacred? Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-respect in action. Every time you follow your plan when you don't feel like it, you are telling your mind who is in charge, and your mind listens. Success is not created in moments of inspiration. It is built in moments of resistance, when the body says rest, when the mind says later, when emotions say quit. That is the exact moment champions move forward. Do not negotiate with weakness. Weakness always asks for comfort. Strength demands commitment. You don't need motivation every day. You need obedience to your own decisions. A written plan is a contract with your future self. Breaking it is betrayal. Honoring it is power. Understand this truth. Your environment does not control you. Your past does not control you. Other people do not control you. The only thing that can stop your progress is letting emotions replace execution. Great achievers train themselves to act first and feel later. They do not wait to feel confident to take action. Confidence follows action, not the other way around. Your plan already knows the way. It does not require your mood's approval. Focus is rare because discipline is rare. And discipline is rare because most people live for relief, not results. Every time you follow your plan, even imperfectly, you strengthen your identity as a person who finishes. Momentum is born from consistency. Consistency is born from discipline. Discipline is born from decision. Decide once, execute daily. Ignore the noise. Your emotions will calm down when they see you are serious. Do not ask yourself, how do I feel today? Ask yourself, what does my plan require? Feelings are followers. Leaders move first. And remember this, the future does not reward moods. It rewards men and women who show up no matter what. Follow your plan every day, without drama, without excuses. That is how ordinary people build extraordinary lives. And that is how you win. Mood is temporary, discipline is permanent. And the moment you truly understand this, your life begins to change. Your mood is a visitor. It comes without warning, stays for a moment, and leaves whenever it wants. Discipline, on the other hand, is a resident. It stays when things are hard. It stays when motivation disappears. It stays when nobody is watching. Most people build their lives around how they feel, and then they wonder why nothing is stable. Feelings were never meant to lead. They were meant to follow. Every great achievement in history was completed by someone who did not feel like continuing at some point. No one feels strong every day. No one feels confident every morning. No one wakes up excited to do difficult, uncomfortable work for years. Yet the difference between those who succeed and those who remain stuck is simple. One group acts anyway. The other waits. Waiting is dangerous. Waiting for the right mood gives weakness time to grow. Waiting for motivation gives fear permission to speak. Waiting for confidence ensures delay. Discipline does not wait. Discipline moves before the mind argues. Discipline understands that progress is not emotional, it is mechanical. You do the work because it is required, not because it is exciting. Your plan was created in a moment of clarity. In that moment, you saw the bigger picture. You understood the cost of inaction. You knew what needed to be done. But later, comfort appeared. Laziness dressed itself as rest. Fear disguised itself as logic. Doubt pretended to be caution, and suddenly your emotions tried to rewrite a decision that was already made. This is where most people lose control of their lives. They allow temporary emotions to override permanent goals. They allow today's discomfort to sabotage tomorrow's freedom. They allow a bad mood to cancel a good plan. Discipline refuses this trade. Discipline does not care about excuses. It does not negotiate with fatigue. It does not ask permission from fear. Discipline simply asks one question: what must be done today? And then it does it. Again, and again, and again. Success is boring to the undisciplined mind. It is repetition, it is structure, it is showing up on ordinary days with no applause. It is doing the same small actions until they compound into something powerful. Most people quit not because the work is impossible, but because the work is unglamorous. Your mood wants entertainment. Your future demands structure. Every time you follow your mood instead of your plan, you train yourself to be unreliable. You teach your mind that promises are flexible. You weaken your self-trust. And once self-trust is broken, confidence collapses. Discipline rebuilds that trust. Every completed task, no matter how small, sends a message to your mind: I do what I say I will do. That message is power. The strongest people are not the most emotional. They are the most controlled. Self-control is not suppression. It is direction. It is the ability to feel tired and still move, to feel afraid and still act, to feel uncertain and still commit. This is not cruelty toward yourself. This is respect for your potential. Discipline creates freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from constantly starting over. People who lack discipline live reactive lives. They respond to circumstances, moods, and opinions. People with discipline live intentional lives. They decide once and execute daily. Your environment will test you. People will distract you. Life will pressure you. Some days will feel heavy for no clear reason. None of that is a signal to stop. It is a signal to tighten focus. Progress does not require perfect conditions. It requires consistent action. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. Habits are built by discipline, not motivation. Motivation is loud at the beginning and silent in the middle. Discipline is quiet, steady, and relentless. The world rewards those who can delay comfort. Every level of success requires a higher tolerance for discomfort. Discipline increases that tolerance. It trains you to stay in the work longer than others. And staying longer is often the only advantage you need. Do not let emotions decide your schedule. Do not let feelings choose your effort. You already know what must be done. Do it tired, do it bored, do it uncertain. Action clarifies everything. Momentum is created by movement, not inspiration. Once you move, the mind follows. Once you act, energy appears. Waiting for the perfect mood is a luxury for those who accept average lives. Your plan is your compass. Your mood is just noise. Every day you follow your plan, you become harder to stop. Every day you ignore your mood, you strengthen your authority over yourself. And when you master yourself, nothing outside you has power over your direction. This is how focus is built. This is how strength is earned. This is how ordinary effort turns into extraordinary results. Success is built on obedience to a clear plan, not on wishful thinking, emotional bursts, or scattered effort. The moment a person commits to a definite plan and obeys it daily, life begins to move with direction instead of chaos. Without a plan, effort is wasted energy. With a plan, even small actions carry weight. Clarity turns struggle into progress, and obedience turns intention into results. A clear plan is not created in confusion. It is born in moments of honesty, when a person confronts reality and decides what they truly want and what they are willing to sacrifice to get it. That decision is powerful because it removes excuses. Once the plan exists, the work is no longer about debating options. It is about execution. Obedience means doing what was decided, even when the desire to hesitate appears. Most people fail not because their plans are weak, but because their obedience is inconsistent. They start strong, then negotiate with discomfort. They adjust standards when resistance shows up. They abandon structure when emotions demand relief. A plan cannot protect someone who refuses to follow it. Success requires loyalty to the path, not enthusiasm for the destination. A clear plan creates order in the mind. It eliminates daily confusion and reduces mental fatigue. When the mind knows what comes next, energy is conserved and focus sharpens. Obedience removes the need for constant decision-making. There is no need to ask what to do today because the plan already answered that question. This is why disciplined individuals appear calm under pressure. They are not guessing, they are following. The world rewards consistency, not intensity. Obedience to a plan creates consistency, and consistency compounds quietly. Results rarely announce themselves early. They grow in silence while most people quit because they cannot see immediate proof. Obedience requires faith in process rather than attachment to instant outcomes. It is the ability to trust the path even when progress feels slow. Distractions exist to test commitment. Opinions exist to weaken focus. Obstacles exist to reveal seriousness. A clear plan filters noise. It reminds a person what matters and what does not. Obedience to that plan protects time, energy, and direction. Without obedience, even the best strategy becomes useless information. Many people confuse flexibility with lack of discipline. True flexibility exists within structure, not instead of it. A clear plan can adapt, but it does not collapse under pressure. Obedience does not mean stubbornness, it means alignment. It means adjusting methods without abandoning the mission. Those who succeed stay loyal to the goal while refining the approach. Self-doubt often appears when obedience is tested. The mind questions whether the plan is working, whether the effort is worth it, whether the sacrifice is necessary. These thoughts are normal, but they are not instructions. Obedience teaches the mind to follow through instead of retreat. Over time, doubt weakens because evidence replaces uncertainty. Success is not dramatic. It is repetitive. It is waking up and doing what needs to be done even when excitement is absent. Obedience turns ordinary days into building blocks. Each completed action strengthens self-trust. Each kept promise reinforces confidence. The person who obeys their plan becomes reliable, and reliability is a rare and valuable trait. A clear plan also creates accountability. There is no one to blame when progress slows. The responsibility is personal and direct. This accountability builds character. It removes victim thinking and replaces it with ownership. Ownership is the foundation of power. Those who own their actions control their outcomes. Comfort is the greatest enemy of obedience. Comfort whispers that tomorrow is safer, that rest is deserved, that effort can wait. A clear plan exposes comfort as a distraction. Obedience requires choosing long-term reward over short-term ease. His choice, repeated daily, separates achievers from dreamers. The strongest advantage a person can develop is the ability to follow their own plan without constant reassurance. Approval is unnecessary when direction is clear. Confidence grows not from praise, but from consistency. Obedience builds inner authority, and inner authority eliminates dependence on external validation. Time respects structure. Energy responds to order. Progress follows discipline. A clear plan aligns all three. Obedience activates them. When actions are aligned with intention, momentum builds naturally. The person no longer chases success. Success moves toward them through accumulated effort. Those who obey a clear plan do not panic under pressure. They do not chase shortcuts. They do not abandon the process when results take time. They understand that success is not an event, but a sequence. Obedience keeps that sequence intact. In the end, success is less about intelligence and more about loyalty to one's own decisions. The plan sets the direction, but obedience moves the feet, and movement sustained over time changes everything. Emotion is the enemy of consistency, and consistency is the foundation of every meaningful achievement. The moment emotions are allowed to decide actions, progress becomes unstable. Feelings rise and fall without warning, and when they are given control, effort becomes unpredictable. One day there is excitement, the next day hesitation, and soon the pattern breaks. Success cannot survive in that environment. Emotions are powerful, but they are not intelligent guides. They respond to comfort, fear, fatigue, and external pressure. They do not respond to long-term vision. When emotions lead, discipline weakens. When discipline weakens, habits collapse. And when habits collapse, results disappear. This is why so many people start strong and finish nowhere. Consistency requires neutrality. It requires the ability to perform without drama, without emotional highs, and without emotional lows. It is the skill of showing up the same way regardless of how the day feels. Emotion resists this. Emotion demands excitement to begin and relief to continue. Consistency demands commitment without conditions. Most people believe they need to feel motivated to act. This belief quietly destroys progress. Motivation is emotional energy, and emotional energy is unreliable. It spikes and fades. Consistency, on the other hand, is mechanical. It operates on routine, structure, and decision. Once an action becomes a habit, it no longer requires emotional fuel. This is why disciplined people appear calm and steady. They are not driven by feeling, they are driven by pattern. Emotion magnifies discomfort. A task that is simple feels heavy when emotion interferes. A small setback feels like failure. A slow day feels like a sign to quit. Emotion exaggerates reality and convinces the mind that temporary difficulty is permanent. Consistency corrects this distortion by focusing on action instead of interpretation. Every long-term goal requires repetition. Repetition requires patience. Patience requires emotional control. Without control, impatience takes over and convinces a person that progress is too slow, that effort is wasted, that results should already be visible. Emotion has no understanding of compounding. It wants reward now or nothing at all. Consistency builds strength quietly. It does not announce itself. It does not provide immediate satisfaction. Emotion craves recognition and feedback. When that feedback is missing, emotion withdraws effort. This is why emotional people struggle to maintain routines. They depend on how the process makes them feel instead of what the process is creating. The mind must be trained to separate feeling from function. Feeling says rest, function says execute. Feeling says delay, function says continue. Feeling says stop, function says one more step. This separation is not natural, it is developed the R of discipline. Each time action is taken without emotional agreement, consistency becomes stronger. Emotion also creates inconsistency by reacting to external noise. Praise inflates effort. Criticism deflates it. Approval increases momentum. Disapproval slows it down. When emotions are reactive, consistency becomes dependent on others. True consistency is internal. It is not influenced by applause or opposition. The most reliable people are not the most passionate, they are the most controlled. They understand that passion fades, but systems remain. They design their lives around structure rather than inspiration. They reduce decision-making and eliminate emotional debate. What must be done is done, regardless of mood. Emotion loves novelty. Consistency thrives on repetition. This creates conflict. Emotion gets bored easily and seeks stimulation. Consistency requires staying with the same actions long enough for results to appear. This is why many people abandon good plans for new ideas. They mistake boredom for failure. Consistency recognizes boredom as part of the process. Progress accelerates when emotion is removed from evaluation. A bad day becomes data, not drama. A slow week becomes feedback, not frustration. This mindset allows adjustment without abandonment. Emotion pushes toward extremes. Consistency stays centered and stable. The world does not reward emotional effort. It rewards reliable output. Results come from those who can perform even when enthusiasm is absent. This ability creates trust, and trust creates opportunity. Employers, partners, and markets all favor those who are predictable in performance. Consistency also builds identity. Each repeated action reinforces the belief that action is automatic. Over time, effort becomes part of who a person is rather than something they force. Emotion loses influence because identity takes over. The person no longer asks how they feel, they act according to who they are becoming. Emotional control is not suppression. It is leadership. It is the decision to place long-term outcomes above short-term comfort. It is understanding that feelings are signals, not commands. Consistency listens, acknowledges, and continues. When emotion no longer dictates behavior, progress becomes inevitable. Days stack, weeks build, months compound. The person who once struggled to stay consistent becomes unstoppable, not because emotion disappeared, but because it lost authority. Consistency does not require perfect days. It requires repeated action. And repeated action requires freedom from emotional control. Decisions made in weak moments destroy strong futures, often quietly, often without immediate consequence, but always with lasting impact. A single choice made under pressure, fear, or exhaustion can undo years of preparation. Weak moments do not announce themselves as dangerous. They appear ordinary, justified, and reasonable. That is why they are so powerful. Weak moments arrive when energy is low and clarity is clouded. Fatigue dulls judgment. Emotion narrows perspective. Fear exaggerates risk and minimizes potential. In these moments, the mind seeks relief, not progress. It looks for escape rather than endurance. Decisions made here are rarely aligned with long-term vision. They are aligned with short-term comfort. The future is shaped not by dramatic events, but by small choices repeated or abandoned. A strong future requires patience, structure, and sacrifice. A weak moment challenges all three at once. It whispers that the effort is too much, that the reward is too far away, that quitting now will not matter. These whispers are rarely challenged, and that is where damage begins. Most people do not fail because they lack ambition. They fail because they allow temporary weakness to rewrite permanent direction. They give one bad day the authority to decide the course of their life. They treat exhaustion as truth and emotion as logic. This is not bad intention, it is. Untrained discipline, weak moments distort time. They make the present feel overwhelming and the future feel abstract. Long-term goals lose emotional weight, while immediate discomfort becomes unbearable. In this state, the mind trades potential for relief. The cost of that trade is invisible at first, but it compounds. Every meaningful path includes resistance. Resistance is not a sign to stop, it is proof that growth is occurring. Weak moments misinterpret resistance as danger. They label struggle as failure. They convince the mind that ease is safety. Strong futures are built by those who recognize this illusion and refuse to obey it. Decision-making must be protected during moments of weakness. The strongest individuals do not rely on willpower alone. They rely on structure, rules, and pre-decided standards. They reduce choice when emotion is high. They do not debate their values when tired. They follow principles that were chosen in moments of clarity. Impulse is the language of weakness. It demands immediate action without reflection. It seeks shortcuts and exits. Strong futures require delayed response. They require the ability to pause, endure discomfort, and allow emotion to pass before acting. Many opportunities are lost not because action was delayed, but because action was taken too quickly. Weak moments are inevitable. No one is immune to fatigue, disappointment, or fear. The difference between those who succeed and those who regret is not the absence of weakness, but the presence of discipline during it. Discipline creates a buffer between feeling and action. It slows reaction and preserves direction. Every time a person resists a poor decision in a weak moment, their future strengthens. Self-trust grows, confidence deepens, control increases. The opposite is also true. Each time a weak decision is made, self-respect erodes, standards lower, recovery becomes harder. The mind learns from behavior. If it learns that weakness leads to escape, it will seek weakness again. If it learns that weakness leads to discipline, it will adapt. This training shapes identity. Identity determines destiny more than talent ever will. Strong futures are not built on motivation. They are built on protection. Protection of time, energy, focus, and standards. Weak moments threaten all four. They push for exceptions, justifications, and compromises. Once compromise becomes a habit, direction dissolves. Pressure reveals character, but habits decide outcomes. When habits are aligned with long-term vision, weak moments lose power. When habits are emotional, weak moments take control. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. Consistency carries direction through instability. Regret is often the echo of a weak decision. It arrives later when clarity returns and options have narrowed. At that point, the damage feels obvious, the opportunity feels missed, the warning feels ignored. Regret is not punishment, it is instruction remembered too late. Strong futures belong to those who delay decisions when weak and act when clear. They understand that not every feeling deserves a response. They understand that endurance is a skill and patience is a strategy. They understand that the future is fragile and must be guarded. A life of strength is built by respecting moments of weakness enough to not obey them. Self-control is the highest form of power because it places command where it belongs, within the individual rather than in circumstances, emotions, or other people. Anyone can react, but very few can restrain themselves. Reaction is automatic and weak. Control is deliberate and strong. The person who masters their impulses gains an advantage that cannot be taken away. Most people believe power is the ability to dominate others, to speak louder, to move faster, or to force outcomes. True power is quieter. It is the ability to pause when provoked, to continue when tired, and to stay committed when temptation offers an easy. Path. Self-control is not dramatic, but it is decisive. Every external challenge first appears as an internal test. Pressure does not defeat people, lack of control does. Anger leads to mistakes. Fear leads to retreat. Desire leads to distraction. Without self-control, talent is wasted and opportunity is missed. With self-control, even limited resources become sufficient. The strongest individuals are not the most aggressive, they are the most disciplined. They choose their responses instead of being driven by instinct. They understand that emotions are signals, not commands. Feeling does not equal truth. Impulse does not equal necessity. Self-control creates distance between stimulus and response, and in that distance lies freedom. Progress requires sustained effort, and sustained effort requires regulation. Energy must be managed. Attention must be directed. Time must be protected. Without self-control, energy is scattered, attention is stolen, and time is consumed by reaction. Control brings order. Order produces momentum. Self-control is the foundation of consistency. It allows a person to act according to plan rather than mood. It keeps standards intact under pressure. When discomfort appears, control prevents escape. When success appears, control prevents arrogance. Balance is maintained because behavior is guided by principle, not emotion. Most failures are not the result of lack of knowledge. They are the result of lack of restraint. Overindulgence, procrastination, and emotional decision-making slowly erode progress. These behaviors feel harmless in the moment, but are costly over time. Self-control prevents small leaks that sink long-term effort. The ability to delay gratification is a form of intelligence. It recognizes that immediate pleasure often carries hidden cost, while temporary discomfort often carries future reward. Self-control makes this trade consciously. It rejects the illusion of ease and chooses the discipline of growth. External freedom is impossible without internal control. A person ruled by impulses is never free, regardless of status or wealth. They are constantly reacting, chasing, and escaping. Control breaks this cycle. It creates stability in behavior and clarity in direction. Self-control strengthens identity. Each disciplined choice reinforces the belief that action is intentional. Over time, behavior becomes aligned with values rather than emotion. This alignment creates confidence. Confidence built on control is stable because it does not depend on approval or circumstance. Distraction is the modern enemy of power. Attention is constantly pulled toward noise, comparison, and instant gratification. Self-control protects focus. It filters information and preserves mental energy. The ability to ignore what is irrelevant is as important as the ability to act on what matters. Resistance is not eliminated by control, it is managed. Fatigue still appears. Desire still tempts. Doubt still questions. Control does not remove these forces, it governs them. This governance allows progress to continue even in imperfect conditions. The world respects those who can govern themselves. Reliability creates trust. Trust creates opportunity. Opportunity multiplies results. Self-control is the root of this chain. Without it, effort remains inconsistent and credibility fragile. Power that depends on others is unstable. Power built on self-control is permanent. It cannot be stolen, denied, or reduced by external forces. It grows with use and strengthens with time. A disciplined mind is calm under pressure. Calm creates clarity. Clarity improves decision-making. Good decisions accumulate into strong outcomes. This sequence begins and ends with control. Self-control is not suppression or denial. It is alignment with purpose. It is choosing the long view over the short impulse. It is respecting potential enough to protect it from momentary weakness. Those who master themselves do not need to prove. Strength. Their actions speak consistently. Their direction remains steady. Their progress continues regardless of conditions. This is why self-control remains the highest form of power. Plans are created in clarity, not comfort, because comfort dulls awareness while clarity demands honesty. Comfort avoids difficult questions and postpones uncomfortable truths. Clarity forces confrontation with reality, with limitations, with responsibility. A real plan is born when excuses are stripped away and the mind sees things as they are, not as they wish them to be. Comfort feels safe, but it is deceptive. It encourages delay, soft thinking, and vague intentions. In comfort, goals become dreams and discipline becomes optional. Clarity, however, has no patience for vagueness. It asks what must be done, what must be sacrificed, and what must change. It does not negotiate with convenience. Every strong plan begins with discomfort because truth is rarely gentle. Recognizing wasted time hurts. Accepting past mistakes is uncomfortable. Admitting inconsistency challenges pride. Yet without these realizations, planning becomes fantasy. Clarity removes illusion and replaces it with direction. Comfort prefers hope without structure. Clarity demands structure without emotion. A plan created in comfort relies on motivation, which fades. A plan created in clarity relies on systems, which endure. This is why most plans fail before they begin. They are built to feel good, not to work. Clarity requires silence. It requires stepping away from distraction and facing the self without noise. In that silence, priorities become obvious. What matters stands out. What does not matter loses its grip. Comfort avoids this silence because it exposes truth. But truth is the only solid foundation for progress. When clarity appears, excuses disappear. Time becomes visible. Energy becomes measurable. Effort becomes accountable. A clear plan defines daily actions instead of distant wishes. It turns ambition into sequence. It replaces emotion with order. Comfort resists commitment. It wants options open and consequences delayed. Clarity understands that commitment is freedom. Once a path is chosen, confusion ends. Decision fatigue disappears. Action becomes simpler because direction is fixed. Many people confuse comfort with balance. True balance is not ease, it is alignment. Clarity aligns actions with goals and goals with values. Comfort often aligns actions with pleasure and avoidance. This misalignment creates frustration and stagnation. A clear plan is specific. It defines what will be done, when it will be done, and how progress will be measured. Comfort avoids specificity because specificity removes escape. Clarity welcomes it because it creates control. Resistance always follows clarity. Once a plan is clear, the mind anticipates effort and tries to retreat to comfort. This resistance is natural. It is not a sign that the plan is wrong. It is proof that the plan is real. Comfort never produces resistance because it never demands change. Clarity also brings responsibility. There is no one else to blame once the path is visible. Comfort hides responsibility behind circumstances and excuses. Clarity removes those shields and places ownership where it belongs. A plan created in clarity is resilient. It does not collapse when conditions change. It adapts without losing direction. Comfort-based plans crumble at the first sign of difficulty because they were built without anticipating effort. Clarity respects time. It understands that progress is sequential and delayed. Comfort demands immediate satisfaction. This difference determines outcome. Those who choose clarity invest time. Those who choose comfort spend it. Mental strength grows through repeated clarity. Each time reality is faced honestly, decision-making improves. Each time comfort is resisted, focus sharpens. Over time, clarity becomes a habit rather than an event. The strongest leaders and builders create plans when emotions are calm and perception is sharp. They do not plan when tired, reactive, or distracted. They wait for clarity, then commit fully. Comfort-based planning leads to half effort and revision without progress. Clarity also simplifies. It removes unnecessary tasks and concentrates energy. Comfort adds complexity to avoid effort. Simplicity requires courage. Clarity provides it. Plans built in clarity do not rely on external validation. They are internally consistent. Approval is irrelevant when direction is certain. Comfort seeks reassurance. Clarity trusts logic and evidence. Once clarity creates the plan, discipline must protect it. Comfort will attempt to return disguised as rest or flexibility. Discipline preserves clarity by enforcing structure. A future built on clarity is stable. A future built on comfort is fragile. One grows through challenge. The other collapses under it. Progress begins the moment comfort is replaced by clarity. Focus is a muscle, use it or lose it, and like every muscle, it grows under resistance and weakens under neglect. When focus is not trained, it becomes fragile. When it is challenged, it becomes powerful. Most people do not lack intelligence or ambition, they lack trained attention. Their minds are scattered, reactive, and easily pulled away from what matters. Focus does not appear naturally in a distracted environment. It must be built intentionally. Every notification, interruption, and unnecessary choice erodes it. Each time attention is surrendered to distraction, the muscle weakens. Over time, concentration becomes painful, and silence feels uncomfortable. This is not a personality flaw, it is a training issue. Strong focus requires effort because it resists impulse. The mind prefers novelty and stimulation. Focus demands restraint. It requires staying with a single task long enough to produce value. This staying power separates those who finish from those who start endlessly. Without focus, effort spreads thin and results remain shallow. Training focus begins with reducing noise. A cluttered environment creates a cluttered mind. Clear surroundings support clear thinking. When distractions are removed, resistance appears. That resistance is proof that focus is being exercised. Avoiding resistance prevents growth. Deep work feels uncomfortable at first because the mind is unused to sustained attention. Thoughts wander. Restlessness appears. This phase is often mistaken for inability. In reality, it is adaptation. The muscle is learning to carry load. Persistence transforms discomfort into capacity. Focus improves decision-making. When attention is directed, information is processed accurately. When attention is scattered, mistakes multiply. Strong focus allows prioritization. It clarifies what deserves energy and what does not. Weak focus reacts to urgency rather than importance. Consistency strengthens focus. Short, repeated periods of concentrated effort build endurance. Long, unfocused hours do nothing. Quality of attention matters more than quantity of time. Focused effort compounds faster because it reduces wasted motion. Focus also protects emotional stability. A wandering mind magnifies anxiety and doubt. Attention fixates on problems without resolution. Focus channels thought into action. Action reduces uncertainty. Stability increases when the mind is engaged with purpose. Modern life encourages constant switching. Switching feels productive but drains mental energy. Each shift requires reorientation. Focus eliminates this drain by sustaining direction. The ability to remain on task creates efficiency and calm. Strong focus requires boundaries. Not every request deserves response. Not every idea deserves exploration. Saying no is an act of concentration. It preserves mental space for what truly matters. Weak focus says yes to everything and accomplishes nothing deeply. Focus strengthens identity. A person who can concentrate becomes someone others trust with responsibility. Reliability grows. Opportunities follow. Focus is not just a mental skill, it is a professional and personal advantage. Fatigue tests focus. When energy drops, the mind seeks distraction. Training focus includes learning to continue with reduced energy. This does not mean ignoring rest, it means resisting escape. Even limited focus maintained consistently builds resilience. Focus is damaged by constant stimulation. Entertainment without limits trains the mind to expect effortless engagement. Real work requires effortful engagement. Reducing overstimulation restores attention span. Boredom becomes a gateway to depth rather than an enemy. Focused individuals finish what they start. Completion builds confidence. Confidence fuels further effort. This cycle creates momentum. Distraction breaks this cycle by fragmenting effort and eroding trust in one's ability to follow through. Focus also sharpens learning. Skills develop faster when attention is undivided. Errors are noticed and corrected. Progress becomes measurable. Without focus, learning remains shallow and inconsistent. Attention is a finite resource. Spending it wisely determines output. Focus ensures that energy is invested rather than wasted. This investment yields results that accumulate over time. The discipline of focus transfers across areas of life. Training attention in one task strengthens it everywhere. This carryover effect makes focus one of the most valuable skills to develop. Those who train focus gain control over their time and outcomes. Those who neglect it remain reactive. The difference compounds daily. Focus grows with use. Neglect weakens it. This reality applies to everyone equally. The choice is constant and the results are predictable. A focused mind builds lasting results. Our daily execution beats occasional motivation because progress is created by what is done repeatedly, not by what is felt occasionally. Motivation is emotional energy. It rises suddenly, creates excitement, and fades just as quickly. Execution is mechanical. It operates regardless of mood, enthusiasm, or inspiration. Results belong to those who execute daily, not to those who wait for emotional permission. Most people depend on motivation to begin. This dependence is costly. When motivation disappears, action stops. Days are skipped, habits weaken, momentum breaks. Execution does not wait for motivation. It begins with commitment and continues with structure. This consistency builds outcomes that motivation alone can never sustain. Motivation is reactive. It responds to music, speeches, praise, or pressure. Execution is proactive. It moves before external influence. This difference determines reliability. A motivated person performs when inspired. A disciplined executor performs regardless of circumstance. Daily execution simplifies success. It removes debate. There is no question of whether to act, only how to act efficiently. This clarity reduces mental fatigue. Energy is spent on doing, not deciding. Over time, action becomes automatic. Small actions performed daily accumulate faster than intense effort applied irregularly. Consistency compounds quietly. Progress may feel slow at first, but it accelerates because nothing is lost between bursts of effort. Motivation-driven action creates gaps. Gaps destroy rhythm. Rhythm creates flow. Execution builds trust with oneself. Each completed task reinforces identity. Confidence grows from proof, not promise. Motivation creates intention without evidence. Execution creates evidence without emotion. This evidence strengthens belief. Daily execution also builds resilience. Showing up on low-energy days trains endurance. Endurance protects progress during difficulty. Motivation avoids difficulty, execution absorbs it. This absorption creates strength. Most goals fail in the middle. The beginning is exciting. The end is rewarding. The middle is repetitive and quiet. Motivation fade. Execution carries effort through this phase. Those who master daily execution pass through the middle, while others retreat. Execution creates feedback. Regular action produces data. Data reveals what works and what does not. Motivation waits for perfect conditions. Execution improves conditions through action. Routine supports execution. Routine reduces resistance. Once a task becomes routine, it requires less effort to begin. Motivation cannot create routine. Only repetition can. Execution also protects time. Scheduled action prevents procrastination. Procrastination thrives in uncertainty. Execution thrives in structure. Structure removes excuses. Emotional highs are unreliable. Emotional lows are inevitable. Execution remains stable across both. Stability creates predictability. Predictability creates results. Daily execution develops skill faster than occasional intensity. Skill requires practice. Practice requires repetition. Repetition requires execution. Motivation might start practice, but it cannot maintain it. Execution builds momentum. Each action makes the next easier. Momentum reduces friction. Motivation resets friction every time it fades. The world rewards output, not excitement. Results matter. Execution produces results. Motivation produces feelings. Execution also sharpens focus. Action clarifies priorities. Distraction fades when effort is directed. Motivation often scatters attention by creating excitement without direction. Daily execution strengthens discipline. Discipline simplifies life. Decisions become habits. Habits become identity. Identity guides behavior. Those who execute daily do not search for shortcuts. They understand that shortcuts delay mastery. Execution respects process. Motivation seeks comfort. Execution tolerates discomfort. Comfort slows growth. Discomfort accelerates adaptation. Daily execution creates long-term confidence. Confidence built on habit does not collapse under pressure. Motivation-based confidence disappears when emotion changes. Execution aligns effort with reality. It adapts through action rather than theory. Motivation stays theoretical. The difference between average and exceptional is rarely talent. It is execution. Daily execution wins because it never waits. Execution builds the future quietly. Those who follow mood serve circumstances, and they surrender control over their lives to forces they cannot command. Mood is fleeting, unpredictable, and reactive. Circumstances are indifferent, unyielding, and often harsh. When a person allows how they feel to dictate action, they give the world power over their progress. They wait for permission from emotion rather than taking authority over outcomes. Most people believe that their feelings reflect reality, but they do not. A low mood feels heavy and insurmountable, but it is temporary. A high mood feels capable, but it is not guaranteed to last. Decisions made according to these fluctuating signals are inconsistent. They bend to comfort, delay effort, and abandon opportunity. Those who follow moods are always one step behind life's demands. Discipline begins when a person recognizes that emotion is a servant, not a master. Progress is built on action, not feelings. Waiting to feel inspired means waiting indefinitely because inspiration is neither scheduled nor reliable. Those who obey moods create reactive lives, moving only when energy aligns with desire. Those who ignore moods create intentional lives, moving in alignment with purpose even when motivation is absent. Following moods is a surrender of power. Every time a task is postponed because one does not feel like it, momentum is lost. Energy is wasted in negotiation with self, and small compromises accumulate into failure. Circumstances do not adjust to accommodate moods. Opportunities do not pause because comfort demands it. The world advances, indifferent to emotion, and those who yield to moods fall behind strong individuals. Act regardless of how they feel. They recognize that feelings are unreliable indicators of what must be done. They commit to a plan and execute it with or without emotional consent. Strength is not built in moments of excitement, but in moments of resistance when the mind, body, and circumstances all seem to oppose action. Obedience to purpose overrides the desire to defer. Mood-driven behavior creates instability. One day is productive, the next is stalled. Goals remain distant, and frustration grows. Habit becomes impossible when effort is dependent on emotion. In contrast, the person who prioritizes purpose over feeling develops consistency. Each action reinforces identity. Each completed task strengthens trust in oneself. Over time, authority over circumstances replaces reliance on moods. Circumstances are indifferent and often hostile. Life presents challenges, setbacks, and unexpected obstacles. Those who serve moods react with delay or withdrawal. They attempt to negotiate with reality through emotion, and it rarely succeeds. Those who act despite mood meet circumstances with preparedness and resilience. Action converts obstacles into opportunities and resistance into experience. The illusion of waiting for the right mood is a trap. It feels productive because it delays discomfort and justifies inaction. In reality, it steals time and erodes potential. Emotional alignment is optional, purpose is mandatory. The difference between success and failure often lies in the ability to execute when feelings resist. Every great achievement has been completed by someone who refused to let mood dictate behavior. Following moods also diminishes self-trust. When actions are dictated by temporary feelings, reliability collapses. Others cannot depend on someone who waits for emotional alignment. More importantly, the individual cannot depend on themselves. Self-respect and confidence grow from honoring commitments even when emotion demands compromise. Obedience to purpose develops character and authority. Emotional fluctuation disguises itself as reasoning. I can't today, I don't feel ready, or I need more energy are common excuses. They feel rational in the moment but are betrayals of the future. Those who serve moods rationalize delay, while those who serve purpose rationalize strategy. The first group reacts, the second acts. One drifts, the other advances. Power belongs to those who decide once and act daily. Moods will rise and fall. Circumstances will pressure, challenge, and distract. Only the person who chooses action over feeling remains consistent. Daily execution, built on obedience to vision rather than emotion, produces momentum that cannot be shaken. Mood is temporary, results are permanent. The world respects those who respond to reality rather than emotion. Opportunity gravitates toward reliability, persistence, and commitment. Serving moods ensures instability, missed chances, and dependence on conditions. Serving purpose ensures control, progress, and authority over life's variables. Those who master themselves shape circumstances instead of being shaped by them. To follow moods is to be enslaved by internal chaos and external unpredictability. To act in spite of moods is to become sovereign over self and resilient against life. Each choice made in alignment with plan rather than feeling reinforces mastery. Each moment resisted strengthens identity. Over time, obedience to purpose eclipses the tyranny of mood. Those who follow moods live as passengers in life. Those who prioritize plan and execution take the wheel, directing their course regardless of turbulence. Service to emotion is submission. Service to principle is empowerment. Those who understand this never wait for feelings. They act because action builds futures, shapes destiny, and creates results that emotion could never produce. Those who follow mood serve circumstances, and those who serve circumstances never command their own lives. Eve. Right decision made according to how you feel, every pause taken because of hesitation, every action delayed because of doubt, surrenders control to forces outside yourself. Life will always present challenges, discomfort, and distraction.